This is a game of Sorcery Contested Realm played at Lucky Lab Brewery in Portland, Oregon. And we're playing a Pauper format, which allows common and uncommon cards. So for Sorcery, exceptional and ordinary cards only. And for our format, we're doing 40-20 decks, and we're using the beta precon avatars only or the Sorcerer from beta. Up top, my friend Kieran is playing the Geomancer, and then I am playing the Sorcerer at the bottom of the screen. So right now we are looking at our mulligans and setting up for the game. This particular Sorcerer deck is based on a silly combo. It is designed to use forced movement spells like Whirlwind or a Wind Sylph to push enemy units through obstacles like the Briar Patch and the Wall of Brambles in order to do a bunch of damage to them. I don't think it's particularly the strongest deck in format here. But Pauper is a fun format to allow people to kind of be creative and try things that they normally could not try in a game of Sorcery. So that's what I decided to do. Kieran starts off here by tapping for a village, and he'll place the rubble in the center. And then I believe create a Foot Soldier token here to end his turn, and then pass. So right now we're talking about the optimal layout for Geomancer. Geomancer isn't an avatar that either of us really play that frequently. And there is like an optimal site placement for it to get that 6 site ramp by turn 6. So that's just what we were discussing here. Again, like we're playing at a brewery. We're having some drinks. We're just having some fun. I'm gonna tap on my first turn, play a windmill, and then pass turn. So, because the Geomancers can ramp so reliably, Kieran is going to draw a spell for turn. He's going to tap the top deck onto the rubble, and it will be a windmill. 2 mana for turn, and he uses it to cast a Bosk Troll, which is a pretty strong turn 2. And he's going to pass turn to me. Now I have to figure out how to deal with the Bosk Troll. And I do have a Briar Patch and a Wall of Brambles. So that's gonna buy me at least a turn here, because the troll is a power 3, and it cannot pass through the Wall of Brambles onto the Briar Patch without doing 3 points of damage to itself. Briar Patch and the Wall of Brambles is honestly kind of the best turn 2 setup that this deck could probably have. Kieran's gonna tap probably for an Earth Site. No, he is tapping for a Lone Tower, but that will give him 4 mana for turn. So he's got 4 mana to play with here. He's got the troll on the board. He has the Foot Soldier token. The Foot Soldier token, for the same reason that the troll obviously it cannot move forward onto the Briar Patch, so he's gonna have to look for some alternate attack vectors here. He's gonna opt to blink the Geomancer, and I think he's doing that to one, cycle a card to get the card draw, and then 2, to move the Geomancer into a position where he can start laying down more rubble, potentially, and possibly playing more rubble and sights forward, because he wants to get around the briar patch, I think. And he's passed turn over to me because he can't do anything with the minions that he has on the board here. And I'm going to tap for a sight, which is going to be a lone tower. Lone tower will give me 4 mana per turn. I'm going to play 2 for a whirlwind. And this is like the gimmick this deck is supposed to do. It forces movement, so it's going to push the boss troll through all that stuff and deal damage to it. It's going to move over the Geomancer and potentially get it into a position to drag it through there as well. And then I have 2 mana left, so I'm going to play a blink. Honestly, just probably, I think I did that just to cycle a card. But I took the opportunity to reposition my Sorcerer as well. And I only really ever burn a blink for a cycle like that if I don't have particularly strong cards in my hand. And I believe in this case I didn't really have particularly strong cards. I think after playing a couple of games with this deck, the Sorcerer deck, what I realized was that I didn't really have as strong a minion curve or a minion presence that I wanted, and it was proving to be a problem, especially in this game, because I'm set up now with a sight placement the way that I want, but I didn't have any bodies to put on the table. And as opposed to Kyrian up here, he plays a town and then puts down a Damperville Vampire, which is pretty scary when that comes down on turn 4. And honestly, it's also probably pretty scary when it comes down on turn 5 too. I believe at this point I do have a berry in my hand, so this turn, yeah, you're going to see that vampire get buried immediately. I'm going to tap for a spell, or a sight. It's going to be a Hunter's Lodge. And then I'm just meeting him up there with the town to potentially create another border, just so he can't immediately bring a sight in. Although up to my back row. Although he does have the lane with the tower, his tower open, so he could put a sight up there, which I don't remember if that's what he does or not, or he chooses to place it at a different location. And he has another town, and he's opting to build out around the Hunter's Lodge, and he has another Damperville Vampire, which is not great. I think I was not happy to see a second one after having just dealt with the first one. And later on we joke, it's I'm also running Damperville Vampires in my deck. I have 3, and I've never seen one. Every time I've played this deck, they've never drawn into my hand. So I'm tapping for a sight. It's going to be a second lone tower. Unfortunately, I don't get the Genesis on it, but I have 5 mana for turn. Five mana for turn. I'm just trying to think of a way to deal with this vampire right now. I I play the Apprentice Wizard to give myself a blocker, to buy myself a turn, possibly, and to draw a card, because I'm looking for some more answers for the Dapperel at this point. I don't know what, I don't remember what in this deck could specifically deal with it. Probably just another Dapperel, like one of my own Dapperel vampires, or I have, I think, a second berry in this deck as well that would come in handy. Other than that, though, I mean, I'm looking at trying to force movement through the Wall of Bramble to deal some damage, and then get a point of damage onto it some other way to finish it off. Grapple shots. Even just grapple shotting for one would potentially be worth it, just to get the vampire off the board. Because the vampire, if left unchecked, and if it has a target to attack that's not a sight, every time it strikes something, it's going to heal you back up for 4 points, for 4 points of health. So it does a very good job of stabilizing your life total, and then just buying more turns for you to do whatever it is that your deck needs to do. So he's drawing a spell for turn. And he's thinking about his options here. We took a little bit of time when we were playing this game. It was a casual game. It was a very casual game, and we were just hanging out, having a good time. He's gonna play a Dark Tower and get the mana on Genesis, which will give him, I believe, 6 for turn. Two for a Bosk Troll. Actually, excuse me, I believe it gave him 7 mana for turn, and so now he's gonna plays the Boss Troll, and then he Whirling Blades with his vampire in to kill the wizard and also deal 4 points of damage to my avatar, as well as get the vampire into position right on top of my avatar, and then attack in with his foot soldier for an additional 1 point of damage. So Kieran in a very good position here now, and I am in trouble looking for something to deal with. The vampire as a priority if I can. The troll is also bothersome because it's a 3-power body. And I think the best I can do right now is to play a Weightless Squire. So I play a Weightless Squire as a blocker. And I believe what I did, because it was going to be a chump blocker, was to just drop the lance, have the sorcerer pick up the lance. And then I played the bats. And again, the bats are just another chump blocker to buy myself another turn from another turn where I'm not going to be hit by the vampire. So it's Kieran's turn right now. He's set up. And he's looking at his options here. And I think at this point in time, we really are just kind of hanging out, and we're reminiscing about some other games that we played. he's talking about playing against Archimago. He's talking about other games that we've played Dapper Vampires with. I think that one of the things that the Pauper format really excels at is this casual play, and this kind of just like when I think about a kitchen table game experience, I'm thinking just more like, is it a casual, is it a fun experience, is it loose, are we just hanging out there to have a good time? And it's more, I guess, the game is more conversation driven. The Pauper format in particular, it's still like in its infancy for Sorcery. The format that we're playing right now, it's not the only format. There's no real standardized formats for Pauper. There is a Discord community of players that is slowly growing to kind of have those discussions about kind of what other people think the format should be and what the format should look like. So he plays out a root spider. He played out a root spider after asking a lot of cagey questions to refresh his memory about how burrowing and unburrowing steps worked in terms of what you can, how far you can move and what you can block and things like that. So I kind of figured out what he was going to play before he played it by a series of like 20 questions. He still has a very good board presence here. And again, he just has more minions on the board, which I think is going to be, a boon to him during this game. I think my other thought about Pauper format is that it really is going to be a format that excels at minion based games, like having creatures on the board, interacting with creatures. Most sorcery games deal with that to an extent, but I think for this like level of play, the action is going to be more centered around even more centered around playing minions and making exchanges with minions and things of that nature. So for that reason, that's one of the reasons why, like, after playing a couple games with this deck, this Sorcerer deck, I need to go look at my minion curve and retune that a little bit, just because I haven't really been getting the minion draws on curve that I need to be able to handle decks that are going to be able to get minions out on a tighter curve than me. So, I mean, just thinking about the potential threats that are out there in the game right now, even in a Pauper format with commons and uncommons, it's still possible to do something like, say, like a turn 2 pond into Lucky Cat, or even just playing like a turn 2 village and an Autumn Unicorn. So that's really difficult for this deck to deal with. It's, kind of troublesome for this deck to deal with 3 power minions, and it's very difficult for it to deal with 4 power minions. Like, the deck is kind of based on a meme, just trying to trying to get out these walls and these briar patches, and then pushing things through it. And then I added a bunch of squires in there just to potentially have lances to I think the thought process was to maybe be able to deal with some larger threats, like 4-power threats, but I also need that base layer of minions with power, like say 3, to be able to do that. But like I said, like this sorcerer deck that I built is kind of based on a meme, and I really leaned into it. It uses like whirlwinds, and it uses lances, so I call it Lance Revolution to rotate everything through the brambles and deal damage to them, and then finish them off with lances. It was my my thought process there. And I think in theory, it is possible for that to work, to deal with some threats like the Deathrill Vampire. If I had found a way to push it through the brambles onto the briar patch, it would have done 3. And if I'd had the Squire out there with the lance, it could have flown in for the finishing point of damage. Or even just where it is right now, if I'd had a way to push the vampire through that second wall of brambles down on my back row, it would have taken 2, and then the Squire could have come in with the lance to deal an additional 2 to take care of it. But it's just like it's just kind of like a cute combo that doesn't necessarily work, I think, or it doesn't work as efficiently as just having a better minion curve in your deck. So he's going to take me to door on this turn, deal that last point with a charge on the Fine Courser, and it's going to put me in a real bind here. Yeah, this game, I'm not really long for the world here at the end. He's just got a ton of minions piled up right at my avatar's doorstep. And right now I only have the Weightless Squire. I have the bats. In hindsight, previous turns, I probably should have just burrowed the bats to try to combat the root spider. But I don't even think neutralizing the root spider would have solved my problems at that point. I needed a way to deal with the vampire earlier. And I mean, I do that now with the magic missile and then the Weightless Squire to fly in with lance, deal the final point of damage. It does not save me from kind of what he still has on the board here. We got the Wind Sylph. The Wind Sylph can at least intercept if he tries to run in with the Courser. So if he tries to have the trolls ride the Courser over to where my Sorcerer is, I can at least intercept there. But even then, I think that doesn't net me another turn. If he had chosen to do that, the Courser would have been intercepted, the trolls would have been there untapped, and then after the Wind Sylph and the Courser fight, then the trolls can just move and attack and deal that final point. So I think he had a couple different ways to deal with this and do the final point here. And he was just kind of, you know, we were just hanging out and talking, and he was just thinking about kind of like a fun way to round out this game. I mean, looking back at this game, I feel like I had a pretty good opener on my sights, and I also had the combo that I wanted, right, with the whirlwind into it. And I think I need to retune this deck a little bit to put some more like meat into that minion curve to be able to deal with things. Like, honestly, like what Kyrian is playing right now, like I could really just adopt that. I could put in some Bosk Trolls. I already have the vampires in there. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good curve package. Come up with a 3-drop that is relevant, and I think I'd be in much better shape. Honestly, like the Weightless Squire is 3 mana. Which is my 3-drop, and it is not going to be as relevant as most other 3-drops that are going to be 3 power bodies that stick around. So now he's choosing to step up with the Geomancer. And he is going to... So he didn't have what he needed this turn. I think he could have ended it, like I said, if he had just or no, he couldn't have he couldn't have rode the courser directly towards me because it would take him through the wall of brambles. That's why he mounted it and then stepped around. But he is closing in. And at most, I think I've bought myself another turn here. This deck that I'm playing, I think it also, the other thing about it is like, it doesn't really have any board wipe capabilities. At the common, uncommon range in the card pool with earth and air, my options are limited. I'm choosing to move the Wind Sylph onto the site with his minions. I'm choosing to move the Squire. I don't remember why I moved the Squire there. Oh, I remember now. So, yeah, so I moved the Squire specifically so I could grapple shot away onto his Foot Soldier. The Wind Sylph casts the grapple shot, and then I'm going to force push the Courser through the onto the wall, onto the Briar Patch to deal a point damage and remove it. So, I mean, kind of it's just like a silly way to kind of run around the board and buy myself another turn, but I haven't really addressed the problems, the problems that I have here in terms of getting away from him. And honestly, like, he's running air, he has a pretty good chance of having a grapple shot, and he might actually end this game out with a grapple shot. If he had one, all he would have to do would be to walk forward with his avatar. But now, yeah, he's got a Hippogriff instead, so he's just gonna play the Hippogriff out, charge in for that final damage on the avatar. So it was a real fun game. I'm a big fan of the Pauper format. I'd encourage everyone to give it a try at least once. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.